And we going through the same thing.
Get the law, statutes, and commandments. Do you know any commandments? Come on, because these are the commandments are life. The commandments are life. It says keep these and live. That's not a commandment, brother.
There you go. He knows.
Thou shalt not worship none but God himself.
Exactly. Come on up, brother. Come on up, brother.
Don't be bad.
You have.
It's your family here.
You're a born Muslim, so you subscribe to Allah. Your father's from where? Your father's from Ghana. Our people is over there in Ghana too, right? So do you know how because the history of Islam and the history of Christianity is very similar. A lot of this was under force. You ever heard of the Crusades? The Christians, the Roman Catholic Crusades. This was basically under the threat of death. And it's the same thing with the Islamic explosion. They came under the threat of death. But before our people were Muslims, or before our people were Christians, what was our people into? What spiritual belief was our people into? Because these things were given to us under the force of death. You either bow down to this rock, you bow down to this cross, or you're gonna die. That was how we became Christians and how we became Muslims.
That's right.
So do you know what our father's belief system was? We wasn't into idolatry. Bear with me, brother. So do you believe in God? You believe in God, all praises. So how? Okay, I'm gonna reason with you, brother, because you said you believe in a relationship with God. Can you hug God? Can God pet your head and say, "Don't worry, you had a bad day, it's gonna be alright, you get him tomorrow, Tiger"? God can't do that, right? So how do you express this relationship with God? Let's walk down that street, brother, because you said you know right from wrong. Now let's take Afghanistan, right? Afghanistan, within their culture, it's a normal culture for them to marry 50-year-old men to 9-year-old girls. That's in their culture. Do they know right from wrong? Is that okay with you, brother? So why is it that you know that is wrong, but somebody in Afghanistan don't know that's wrong? Give me on Proverbs 3. 1 second. Give me Proverbs 3 and 5. Right? Because you might know that's wrong, but somebody else might not know that's right. But this is why, because you can't, now at that point you're dealing with how you feel on what's right and wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Give me that Proverbs 3 and 5.
Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5. Trust in the Most High with all thine heart, and lean not into thy own understanding.
So your own understanding of wrong and right, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to trust in the Most High with all thy heart and lean not into thy own understanding. Continue with that.
Verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
That's right.
Be not wise in thine own eyes.
What he said?
Be not wise in thine own eyes.
So he's saying, be not wise in your own eyes. That's the point I wanted to make, because you might say this is wrong or this is right. You might say that this is wrong to you, But to me, this might be a-okay, like the example I gave you with the Afghanistan marrying a 9-year-old woman to whatever age man. It doesn't even matter. They marry off their daughter, even to a 50-year-old man. So that might be okay with them, but that's because they're wise in their own eyes. This is, now, the reason we hang on the Bible, right, is because the Bible is different. Like, you know, you're into Islam, and I'm not trying to knock any belief, right? But the Bible, unlike the Quran, the Bible has prophecies that's written before, it's written hundreds to thousands of years before they happen, and then they happen. So this validates the book as being an authentic, divinely inspired book. Come on, build with us,
Bring
brother.
it out. Come on, brother.
First of all, the meaning of Bible is a compilation of books.
Exactly, Biblios, compilation of books, that's right.
So they say the Holy Bible, which is a compilation of holy books. Now, there are many people who wrote books.
Uh-huh.
Even in the time, Judas wrote books, is not in the Bible.
Absolutely.
Magdalene wrote books, is not in the Bible.
Give me,
Who decide what stay in the Bible and what don't?
hold on, give me Isaiah 8 and 20. Give me Isaiah 8 and 20. Give me 1 Peter 1 and 20. Because you're asking some very good questions, right? And so who decides what book? Because I've heard of a lot of these books that you mentioned, you know, the Gospel of Barnabas, that's not in the Bible. There's all these books, right? But who decides it? And the Bible gives you the Bible is a unique book, right? Not only do it have prophecy, but it also defines itself. The Bible defines itself. Now here's this. I want you asked the question, so here's the answer according to the Bible.
All right. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
So it says, to the law and to the testimony. The law is the first 5 books of the Bible, which gives the law, and the testimony is the testimony of the prophets and the New Testament of Jesus, right? So if it speaks not according to that, is because there's no law in it, right? So when you ask me about those other books, right? The whole process of vetting what's canon, what's so-called canon, what belongs in the Bible and what don't, if it speaks against something contrary to what's in the Bible, then we know that it's not divinely inspired, right?
Bring up the book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 20. Who verily was foreordained.
Hold on. We'll deal with you right now, but I just want to address what the brother was saying. 2 Peter 1 and 20.
Reading out the book of 2 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 20. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
That's right.
For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit.
So holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. That's what gives us the divine inspiration. Because in the book of Isaiah, it mentions prophecies about Israel. It mentions about stuff that still hasn't even come to pass yet. In Jeremiah, it does the same. In Zephaniah, it does the same. These are prophecies in the book, right? A lot of the books were written by Saul, yes. Yeah, about 30 years after Jesus died, he had the vision. That's not a true statement. That's not a true statement. So
But most of it is written by a man who never met Jesus.
So,
Who used to be the preacher Jesus.
hold on, let's let the brother.
This is Spirit right here. Reading out the book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse 7. Then said, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O Yahweh.
So this is Jesus saying he came in the volume of the book, right? But now you asked me, right? So do you know the gospel, the so-called gospel, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, right? That 2 of those books were written by Jesus' disciples. The book of Matthew was a disciple of Christ, and the book of John was a disciple of Christ. Furthermore, John, the same John the Revelator, the same person who wrote 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, the book of Revelations, this is also one of Jesus' disciples. Secondly, the book of Mark and the book of Luke were written by apprentices. They were followers of Paul. And this is later. Those books came afterwards. But this is that's why there's some discrepancy in the story. Because if you read a first-hand account like Matthew and John, they were right there in the entirety, brother. I'm not smart at all, brother. Like what? Go ahead. Why can't you believe that's possible?
For example, one time, if I came here now with a baseball bat and I start hitting people over the head, I hit 10 persons, would you still be there?
Okay. All right. Because you ask a good question, right? Because so nowadays, are you a warrior?
Bring it out.
Hold on. Are you a warrior? So how can you tell what a warrior is able to do with a weapon?
Right.
How can you limit that? Those brothers at that time, do you know the time that Samson was living in? Do you know the time that Saul was living in? Samson.
And he caught 200 wild foxes, tied them by their tail, lighted a fire, and set it in. You actually
So
you could caught a wild fox. It's possible that somebody could get 200.
So again I say, brother, the time that Samson was living, they were brand new into the land, so they had to clear out the land. So when you say 10,000, how many people do you think live in Brooklyn? Millions, right? So let's say we clearing out Brooklyn. So if let's say we're going to war and we're clearing out Brooklyn in one day, and I survived it, and I'm clearing out Brooklyn. Me and my people were clearing out Brooklyn. Do you think it's far-fetched that if I survived that one day, I could have killed 10,000 people? I mean, brother, you're making the Bible something mystical and mysterious when it's something that is really simple.
Teach.
All I'm saying is that
I got a precept?
My brother, you said that you believe in the Most High, right? The power of the Most High, you said, right? Shemai, please. You said you believe in the Most High. Do you believe that the Most High is a spirit? Because when you say God, all you're really doing is saying power. That's why police is a power. You are power. Anybody that has authority is a power. So when you look at Samson, you have to look at the time that he was in. They were men of stature, tremendous stature. The only point I'm trying to bring across, brother, is that he was a holy man. And being a holy man, you cannot say what type of spirit of strength that the Most High puts on upon him.
I'm not debating the strength. I'm debating the possibility of you killing 10,000 persons.
They've done it.
But exactly, but the thing is, like the example I made out for you, because those brothers in that time, they were clearing out the land. The land Israel was also known as the land of Canaan. Why? Because the Canaanites was living there. The Most High gave that to Abraham's promised seed. So when they was making their sojourn out of Egypt and clearing out the land, this was a war time. That's why I asked you first, are you a warrior? Can you unless you're actually a warrior and you're going through those battles, you cannot say what a man did with a weapon, because he's now warring with that weapon. You understand what I'm saying? So him killing 10,000, I think that there's even more difficult stuff than that. That's something really simple. based on the time that they're living in. They were clearing out the land from the Canaanites. So it is very possible he killed 10,000 of them. Why? Because at the end of the day, he tuck his little jawbone right in there and he go to war with it the next day. Hold on. Give me that Psalms. Let the Bible come out, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're teaching the Bible.
We're going to give you two back to back. We got the book of Psalms, chapter 144 and verse 1. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight.
And that's what the Most High blessed Samson with the strength and taught his fingers to war. And Samson was a mighty man from the tribe of Dan that helped us immensely in clearing out the land.
And this is Psalms 14 and verse 1. The fool hath said in his heart that there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good.
So I believe the brother believe in God. You say you believe in God, right? But you doubt the works of God. That God does. Give me that.
We're book of Isaiah chapter 8 verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And they shall pass.
I brought that one out already. But so the Bible at the end of the day is we're not here. You said that you don't believe, and this has to do with faith. This has to do with faith because you believe. You believe in God, right? You believe the existence of a God. You believe that God works through men, right? So God could put his spirit on me and I can do things that I wasn't able to do before, right?
Teach!
Through him, through the spirit of God that he puts on me. God is a spirit and he must be worshipped in spirit and in truth. So by him putting his spirit on us, like he says throughout the book, give me Joel 2 and 28. He says that he'll put his spirit on us throughout the book. So when somebody, David leaping walls, he put his spirit on him. So I mean, what is it about the Bible that you have hang-ups on believing?
One is that I told you some of 66 books, some of 73.
So the 66 books, right? There's really we subscribe to 80 books, right? Because even the Roman Catholic Church, where all Christianity stem out of, all of them. The Roman Catholic Church holds the Apocrypha in it. They keep the Apocrypha within it. It wasn't until the Lutheran Reform that took the 14 books of the Apocrypha out of it. So now it's 66 books. Right? But so even we believe in the Apocrypha. See, this is a 1619 King James. And it wasn't until after that edition that they started taking out books out of the Bible. But we hold the Apocrypha because in the book of John it mentions that Jesus observed the feast of dedication. That is nowhere within the Old Testament. You only find that in the Apocrypha. So it's just something that validates the Apocrypha as being holy scripture. They mention what? What do you mean? What? Define incest. And that goes back to what I said earlier about being not wise in thy own eyes. Because if the Most High says that this is allowed, then it's allowed.
That's right.
Now you might have a problem because you're living in American custom where like I said earlier with the example of Afghanistan, where their custom says that you can marry a 9-year-old girl. Well, American custom says that you can't marry your cousin or something. But the Bible doesn't have an issue with it. In Leviticus, it's not outlined as one of those wrongs, you know. So, like again, now we're living in American time, right? We're living in American time, so you're viewing things based on your understanding in this time. 1 Corinthians 3 and 18. What?
All right, we're in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
So the Most High said, and it's going to come the time, and this is literally, this is talking about this time actually, that he's going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. When he say all, he's talking about Israel, all Israel's flesh, you know? But that's just what I brought that out because I said that throughout the book he mentions that he's going to put his spirit on people.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18. 19. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High.
That's
So
right.
the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High.
That's
because
right.
at the end of the day, brother, right? At the end of the day, I want to ask you a real question. Did you decide that it's wrong for you to what you say incest? Did you decide that? No, you're letting other people's, and ultimately at the end of the day it boils down to the so-called white man who's in charge of this world. That's his views on things. And now we've allowed his views on things to corrupt our views on things. Now we only see things his way. And that's why the scriptures talk about being born again, to come out of the world, to be reborn through the Spirit. And the Spirit is in the words. Because if you're just dealing with the base level. But continue with that.
For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Most High knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain.
And the Most High knows the thoughts of the wise, the so-called wise men of this world, that they are vain. That everything that we know, and that's the Bible. It's a continuous theme in the Bible to be reborn again, to continuously. You think you know something? He says, if a man think himself wise, let him become a fool to be wise. So that means you got to come back again. I don't know anything. Come back as a child. A child has no idea. Parents has to teach them everything. Everything that we taught in this world is being taught through their system, their wickedness, their views on things. But I'm gonna.
This is Romans chapter 15 verse 4. For everything were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So everything that's written in this Bible was written for our learning, right? So, you said you're from Ghana, right? Now, what was the people of Ghana, the original people of Ghana? Do you know the history of the people of Ghana? You understand? Because these are things that we don't even think about. We don't consider how the people even came into Ghana. A lot of the people, we know that Ghana was in the land of Ham, but a lot of the so-called black people who were brought here by slaves, when the colonizers started rounding up slaves and other Africans started selling the slaves, a lot of the people fled along the coastlines of west coast of Africa. And Ghana, Nigeria, a lot of those places our people ended up in. So me and you, we're probably the same people from the same stock, from the same group of people. And that's what we're telling our people, come back to who we are. The Most High brought you here. He's the one that put that spirit in you to listen and to hear, because this is the washing of the word. This is what he wants from you. You to come back to your identity as a child of Israel, and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. But I'll let another speaker come and they can dialogue with you some more if you have more questions, all right?